Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about one of the important topic in system physiology about respiratory system, in particularly about mechanism of breathing and exchange of gases. You know, mechanism of breathing and gases exchange. Okay. First we'll discuss about mechanism of breathing. What is respiration? The major objective of respiration is to supply the energy currency by oxidation of food substances. That means respiration is a catabolic process because we are all human beings, animals and other living substances should continue their life simply by running regular cellular metabolic activities. For that, continuous supply of energy is required. In turn, for that, oxidation of food substances is required, and for that, complete continuous supply of oxygen, that means the exchange of gases, is prima facie importance. That means to break down the food materials, we need oxygen. For that, there should be a specialized system, what we call a respiratory system. The bottom line is simple. Respiration is a catabolic process which provides the energy currency simply by oxidation of the food substances like glucose, amino acids and fatty acids. Therefore, oxygenation, that means gaseous exchange, is an indispensable, the crux point for the successful running of respiratory system. Different animals adopt different pathways to enhance the oxygenation. For example, in aquatic animals, there is a countercurrent mechanism, that means countercurrent flow. That means the blood in the gills and the water, they flow in opposite direction, which enhances the oxygenation of blood. Say in case of trachate animals, say the insect and some other arthropods, the oxygen supplies directly to the cells. That means cells virtually breathe by means of trachea and tracheoles. That means a specialized tubular system is there. Then in case of say human being particularly, we have say mammals, and in particular human being, we have rib cage and diaphragm which enhances the breathing ability. Say for example elephant seal, which can survive, that means can remain in water up to few hours because of myoglobin. Myoglobin present in, that means the hemoglobin of muscles, for example, that means the blood pigment, which has higher affinity for oxygen. Say for example in case of birds, they have air sacs and parabronchi which facilitates the exchange of gases even during expiration. All these pathways, I mean, adaptive pathways, is to enhance the gaseous exchange phenomenon, so that there will be a regular supply of oxygen, so that the food substance will be oxidized and continuous energy supply will be done. That means will be ensured. This is about the broad overview of respiration. In general, what is happening in respiration? That means respiratory driven energy supply. Say we are living cells, we have to depend on oxygen to undertake our different metabolic activities, and during this process metabolic water H2O will be released. That means during the energy releasing process, that means when oxygen is utilized for during the oxidation of food substances, the energy currency ATP will be released. At the same time metabolic water will also be released as an end product. At the same time carbon dioxide will also be released. I told you already, exchange of gases. What exactly exchange of gases? We have to allow the oxygen inside and have to send the carbon dioxide to outside. Why we have to send the carbon dioxide out? That is the next important question. Carbon dioxide when it combines with water, that means H2O, forming H2CO, the carbonic acid, which lowers the blood pH, and that means it disturbs the homeostasis. So there should be a regular intake of oxygen and sending away of carbon dioxide. That means what we call gaseous exchange. That for that, breathing mechanism, breathing apparatus, a specialized breathing apparatus, what we call just like a gateway to respiration, has to be done, has to be adopted accordingly. In respect to the centers, that means neurological control, we all discussed in previous classes. The homeostasis of oxygen and carbon dioxide will be controlled in the respiratory centers, whereas inhalation and exhalation will be controlled by the medulla oblongata. Whereas the pneumotaxic center present in pons valuole, which regulates the rate and depth of breathing. That means it determines how much air we have to take in during each time. This is very important. Okay, apart from these, there are certain important terms. Breathing we have already discussed. That means breathing facilitates gaseous exchange, and gas exchange leads to oxidation of food substance. Oxidation of food substance leads to ATP release. That is the pathway. Okay, breathing. What exactly breathing? It's like, exchange of oxygen. We have to discuss now. We have to allow the oxygen inside from the atmosphere. We knew that atmosphere oxygen percentage is around 21%. Okay, inside and have to send the carbon dioxide to outside. So breathing should, what we call breathing, otherwise called external respiration or ventilation. That means exchange of oxygen from the medium, either air or water, depending on the kind of habitat, with carbon dioxide that is produced by the cells, is breathing. Actually, it's like inflow, allowing the air inside, that means oxygen inside, and sending away the carbon dioxide to outside. That is why it is known as ventilation or external respiration. So the crux point for all this, that means the essence of respiration, is the processes that leads to and including the chemical breakdown of food materials so as to release energy, is respiration. Okay, apart from this, there are certain important words, anaerobic respiration, aerobic respiration, that we have to must and should learn how. That means there are different ways of respiration. Say for example, respiration is nothing but a catabolic process. This specifically catabolism of food substances by oxidation so as to release energy. That is why it is called calorie burner and energy provider. It is obvious. Okay. It is of again two types, aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic, the word it implied, without oxygen. But what happens without oxygen? The organic substances like glucose, for example, they break down incompletely. Therefore, low yield of energy. That means incomplete organic substances leads to low yield of energy. Say for example, the glucose, the C6H12O6 gives rise to 2CO2 plus 2C2H5OH plus 2 ATP is ethanol. Likewise, C6H12O6 gives us to 2C3H6O3 plus 2 ATP. It is lactose. Just 2 ATPs when one glucose molecule is oxidized. In general, aerobic respiration, what exactly it is? C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O is raised to 6H2O plus 12CO2, 6CO2 plus 12H2O plus 36 ATP. That means we are utilizing 6 oxygen molecules and 6 water molecules, and resulting it leads to 6 CO2 plus 12 H2O. This is what we call metabolic water. Plus 36 ATP. Just compare, in anaerobic respiration we are just getting 2 ATPs, but here 36 ATP. 38 also, depending on the kind of shunt. Okay, 38 ATPs, and it is metabolic water, what we call end product. At the same time, carbon dioxide will also be released. That means carbon dioxide is actually toxic substance, so it has to be sent out. And oxygen it has to in. For that, what we call exchange of gases. So there should be an effective breathing apparatus. What we call a respiratory organ should be there. In different animals, depending on the grade of organization, what we call complexity and the habitat, have different organs. For example, say protozoans, the lower invertebrates like cnidarians platforms, they simply exchange gases by simple diffusion throughout their body surface. Whereas in case of earthworms, say moist body wall. Say in case of insects, for example, tracheate system. Say in case of scorpions and spiders, there are book lungs. In case of vertebrates, say the fishes and larvae of amphibians, they have gills. In case of reptiles, birds and mammals, they have lungs. That means different respiratory apparatus, respiratory organs, with accordance to their habitat and the complexity of organization, what we call level of organ grade of system. Like just think like that. Okay. So it's about the objective of all these systems, though it is simple or moderate or complex, is to enhance the exchange of gases ability. That's it. That means there should be a continuous oxygen supply. We have discussed now. In case of birds, there are air sacs, there are parabronchi, which generally allows the exchange of gases even during expiration. The objective is to get oxygen supply and oxidation, then supply of ATPs. That's it. And metabolic water will be we can place and carbon dioxide sent out. That is it. Obviously, this is that means broad theme, that what we call central dogma of respiration. Okay. In case of human beings, we have a well developed respiratory system. Say we are just not going to the deep, but a glance I am saying. Okay. Say there are external nostrils, there's nasal chamber, and nasal chamber they have ventricular system, then the respiratory system, then the olfactory chamber, that means respiratory chamber and the olfactory chamber. Then after that, nasopharynx, two internal nostrils, then larynx, the voice box, then trachea, then bronchi and bronchioles, then lungs. It's a sequence of respiratory tract in case of human beings. Okay. After that, since the today topic, mechanism of breathing. The objective of all these respiratory organs or organized respiratory system is to enhance the exchange of gases. That means enhance the ability of breathing. And how in case of human being performs. Okay, we'll discuss about that. What we call mechanism of breathing. Before going to the topic, we have to learn certain important things. Mechanism of breathing. Breathing means we already discussed. We have to exchange the oxygen. That means from the medium, which may be either air or water, with it of carbon dioxide that is produced by the cells at the same time. That is why breathing is known as external respiration or pulmonary ventilation. And what exactly? That means atmospheric air should get inside, whereas alveolar air should go outside. Intake of atmospheric air, at the same time releasing of alveolar air. These are the two major, two sub-themes or the substeps of mechanism of breathing issues. And how this has been done? Actually, breathing is based on pressure differences. Pressure differences means pressure difference between atmosphere and the lungs. Before that, it's about basic. Gases always move from high to low pressure, what we call diffusion. The movement of gases is by diffusion, and they move by high to low. For example, say this is one medium, this is medium 1, and this is medium 2. Okay, some say oxygen. So this will be represented by what we call PO2, what we call partial pressure. Partial pressure of PO2, or say example PCO2 as well. For example, in medium 1, there are some 14 units are there. It will be measured in 14 mmHg. So simply for understanding, I'm mentioning as 14 units for understanding. Okay, and here there are 12 units. 12 units. Here, oxygen moves from medium 1 to medium 2. Why? But that means by diffusion. How it is done? It always moves from high to low, high to low, high to low. That's it. That means pressure differences, pressure gradients. Pressure gradient is the major crux point to facilitate this gas. That means for diffusion. The same concept applies here. Here the medium 1 and medium 2 are atmosphere and lungs. These are the two mediums. Differences, that means pressure gradient between these two things facilitates the exchange of gases. This is a simple answer for understanding. Okay, let us see exactly what happens here. We already discussed now the pressure differences between the atmosphere and lungs. So it's a beginning of two types. Two steps. Sorry, inspiration and expiration. Pressure difference means here, since gases always move from high to low, apply here. Inspiration, just imagine. Inspiration, we are allowing the atmospheric air to inside. Expiration, we are allowing the alveolar air to outside. Inspiration, expiration, allowing the atmospheric air from outside to inside of the lungs. How and what motivates this factor? What motivates this step? simply by pressure difference. That means atmospheric pressure is high than the lungs, or in other words, the intrapulmonary pressure, what we call intrapulmonary pressure, IPP, intrapulmonary pressure. This is very important. Intrapulmonary pressure is low, that means negative in the lungs when compared to the atmosphere. Therefore, atmospheric pressure is high when compared to the lungs. Therefore, atmospheric air, they move inside. That means intake of atmospheric air into the lungs. It is inspiration. And what exactly happens and how this process is done? How the intrapulmonary pressure is lower than the atmospheric pressure? And what makes them that mean to achieve this step? There are certain important things like specialized muscles like phrenic muscles of diaphragm and external intercostal muscles and internal intercostal muscles of ribs facilitate this process. That means these specialized muscles maintain the pressure gradient. During inspiration, they maintain low, that means negative intrapulmonary pressure when compared to, that means atmospheric pressure is high. Whereas during expiration, they increase the intrapulmonary pressure. How? Simply by increasing and decreasing the size of the thoracic cavity. Say, for example, just before going to the exact topic, we will for understanding we'll think like this. Okay, this is a rib cage. During inspiration, we feel that the thoracic cavity is increasing in size in both directions. Anterior posterior axis, at the same time dorsoventral axis, anterior posterior axis. What exactly happening here? I already discussed now. Phrenic muscles of diaphragm. The contraction of phrenic muscles of diaphragm increases the thoracic cavity in anterior posterior axis, whereas the contraction of external intercostal muscles increases the size of thoracic cavity in dorsoventral axis. Ultimately, the thoracic size will be increased. In turn, the pulmonary volume will increase. Since the pulmonary volume is increased, it decreases the intrapulmonary pressure when compared to the atmosphere, what we call negative of intrapulmonary pressure. Therefore, atmospheric air is getting inside. Because atmospheric pressure is high when compared to lungs, this is happening during inspiration. And during the expiration, the same in opposite manner. The phrenic muscles of diaphragm, that means they relax. Since they relax, the anterior posterior elongation of the thoracic cavity, in turn the pulmonary volume decreases. That means they come to a normal position. At the same time, the external intercostal muscles of that which are present in the ribs, they also relax. Therefore, dorsoventral enlargement also relax. That means the rib cage and the sternum will come to its normal position. Since it comes to its normal position, inside, that means the pulmonary volume will be decreased. Since the pulmonary volume is decreased, it increases. That means the pulmonary volume is a motivating factor. It is the motivating factor. It increases the intrapulmonary pressure, IPP. It becomes positive when compared to atmospheric pressure. Since the intrapulmonary pressure is high than the atmospheric pressure, the alveolar air in the lungs, they go. That means it will move from inside to outside. Process is same. High to low. The only thing is maintains the pressure gradients. And who is responsible for that? This phrenic muscles of diaphragm and external and internal intercostal muscles of ribs. Say here actually inspiration is an active process because it involves a contraction of phrenic muscles and external intercostal muscles. Whereas the expiration is a passive process because it involves a relaxation of the cell. Ultimately leads to decrease in the size of the thoracic cavity. That means thoracic volume and also the internal pulmonary volume, increasing the intrapulmonary pressure, so that the alveolar air will be released to outside during expiration. So these are the broad theme of inspiration and expiration. Okay. For understanding, we'll draw a particular diagram. Say, as we discussed, for understanding, this will be thoracic cavity, this will be the thoracic cavity, and this will be the rib cage. This will be the rib cage, and this will be the. Just these are not exactly the same, but something like this. Okay. Here, the most important components we have to focus are diaphragm, and the external intercostal muscles. So this is a rib cage. This is a rib cage, okay? This is a rib cage. Say, this will be like this. This will be like this. Rib cage, okay? This will be like this, okay? Here the ribs are, we all know this rough representation. Okay? These are the ribs. These are the ribs. Okay? These are the ribs. And during this process, and external intercostal muscles position will be like this. External intercostal muscles and the internal intercostal muscles will be like this, okay? External intercostal muscles, external intercostal muscles and internal intercostal muscles. Intercostal muscles. Okay. This is a rib cage, that means sternum and the ribs. The rib cage, okay. This is the diaphragm. This is the diaphragm, and this is the thoracic cavity. The air is moving inside. Thoracic cavity. This is the thoracic cavity. That means the size of the thoracic cavity is increased. We have discussed during inspiration how the thoracic cavity size is increased simply by contraction of the external intercostal muscles and the diaphragm. The contraction of the diaphragm and the external intercostal muscle facilitates the contraction of the diaphragm means it is arching downwards. It arching downwards. That is external intercostal muscles, they contract, which increases the size of the thoracic cavity. That means, therefore, allowing the oxygen inside. How? Here, intrapulmonary pressure (IPP) is negative. Is very important. This is thoracic, okay? Increasing the size of thoracic cavity. The same say come to the expiration process. Same, but it's a bit different. It comes to normal position. Just imagine, just understand the differences between the two. The difference between the two. The differences between the two. Now what exile? Exile happens. The diaphragm it will move to the normal. It will reach the normal position. Reach to the normal position. Okay, just to avoid best time, I am not drawing everything. Okay, but the important parts. The diaphragm arching upwards, whereas the rib cage, that means simply the sternum bring down the normal position. That means relaxation of external intercostal muscles. External intercostal muscles, IEM. This is very important. The same in the thoracic cavity. The thoracic cavity is reduced. That means so that the oxygen, that means exhalation, what we call exhalation of air. That means carbon dioxide will be outside and here oxygen will be inside. Inhalation. Just imagine, just understand the difference. During inspiration, the thoracic cavity is high because of contraction of external intercostal muscles and the phrenic muscles. That means phrenic muscles and diaphragm muscles. Contraction of these two, the diaphragm will arch downwards, increasing the size of thoracic cavity, then the pulmonary volume, then reducing the IPP, intrapulmonary pressure. See here the same opposite expression. The external intercostal muscle relaxes and also the diaphragm relaxes. That means it arches upwards. That means the thoracic cavity will be decreased in size. That means it facilitates intrapulmonary pressure become positive, higher when compared to atmosphere. Higher intrapulmonary pressure during expiration when compared to atmosphere. So that exhalation of air, that means the carbon dioxide outside, they move outside, whereas during inhalation it moves inside. This is what exactly happening. Okay. the most important fundamental difference is inspiration, actually is an active process. This is passive process. Why it is active? Because it allows the contraction of external intercostal muscles and phrenic muscles. Here it involves increase in thoracic volume. Here it is relaxation of external intercostal muscles and phrenic. Then it decreases the thoracic volume. That means intrapulmonary pressure is negative. Intrapulmonary pressure is positive. These are the fundamental differences between mechanism of breathing, inspiration and expiration. This is how the issue ends. There are internal intercostal muscles. The contraction of internal intercostal muscles and the lateral abdominal muscles allows forced expiration. Okay, so it's about phrenic muscles, external intercostal muscles and internal intercostal muscles activity in inspiration and expiration. Okay, I already discussed the pressure gradient between the atmosphere and the lungs. During inspiration, intrapulmonary pressure is negative, so that the intake of atmospheric air, oxygen will come inside. Whereas in case of expiration, the intrapulmonary pressure will be high because pulmonary volume is decreased because of relaxation of external intercostal muscles and the phrenic muscles. Okay. Then the next important step is exchange of gases. Okay. So all these things leads to gaseous exchange now. We have discussed the objective of breathing. The objective of breathing is to enhance the gas exchange. Gas exchange is what? We have to exchange that means oxygen with carbon dioxide in lungs, that means in alveoli. At the same time, there is internal respiration, systemic circulation, where we have to exchange the oxygen, that means allow the oxygen to the tissues and send the carbon dioxide to the systemic capillaries, so that it will take to the carbon dioxide to alveoli and eventually it will go out. That means pulmonary exchange, what we call external respiration, systemic exchange, what we call internal respiration. The pulmonary exchange will take place at the alveolar junction, systemic exchange will take place at the tissue junction. And again it depends on our discussion of partial pressure, PO2 and PCO2. Differences in partial pressure. Partial pressures. How? First we'll take the pulmonary respiration. Say where it takes place in alveoli. So this is alveolar. And this is a squamous epithelium, twin squamous epithelium. And these are the blood capillaries, what we call lung capillaries. And this is the endothelium. And between them there will be a basement substance. Squamous epithelium, endothelium, basement substance. Alveolus. That means here oxygen have to get inside the blood, whereas carbon dioxide from blood they have to move to alveoli. It is called pulmonary exchange. How this happens? Again, differences in the partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the alveoli and the pulmonary capillaries, that means the blood in the pulmonary capillaries, allows a diffusion. That means we have to take the oxygen inside. That means partial pressure of oxygen in the alveolus should be high when compared to the partial pressure of oxygen in the pulmonary capillaries. And we have to allow the carbon dioxide to move outside. That means we have to release to outside. That means for that, partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the pulmonary capillaries should be high when compared to the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the alveolus. Simple. Say for example, this is the alveolar unit. Just for understanding, okay? And this is the pulmonary capillaries. Say here PO2 is 104 millimeters of mercury. It is measured as partial pressure is measured in millimeters of mercury. And in case of pulmonary capillaries, PO2 is 40 mmHg. Whereas PCO2 whereas PCO2, here it is 40 mmHg in alveoli, whereas in case of pulmonary capillaries, PCO2 is 45 mmHg. Since, say, we will take first the oxygen. Here, alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is high, 104 mmHg. When compared to pulmonary capillary, it is 40 mmHg. The oxygen moves inside. Through this, what we call respiration, that means respiratory membrane. Respiratory membrane is it is a tri-layered. The squamous epithelium alveolus, the basement membrane, that means the endothelium of the blood vessels, and the basement substance between the two, the three layers. Actually, there's diffusion. Simply the oxygen and carbon dioxide, they move by diffusion, simple diffusion. But the rate of diffusion depends on different factors like concentration gradient, number one, most important, partial pressure. At the same time, the thickness of the respiratory membrane, the solubility of the gases, that the surface area, and the distance of diffusion. The 5 fundamental factors that facilitate this simple diffusion. The most important thing is the partial pressure, what we call the concentration gradient, and the solubility. Here, the solubility of carbon dioxide is 20 to 25 times higher than that of the oxygen. That is why the amount of oxygen that is moving, that is diffusing, when compared is higher when compared to oxygen. Okay. So in the first pulmonary respiration, that means in step 1, oxygen moves. That means oxygen moves from alveolus to pulmonary capillaries. We knew that pulmonary capillaries means all the